What unfolds when a CEO enters his own store and encounters a cashier in distress? That's precisely what unsettled Aaron Keller, the founder of a modest yet expanding retail chain with 12 locations. Aaron had crafted his enterprise from the very foundation, achieving success by most measures. Yet recently he had sensed a disconnection. Customer feedback had become varied, staff turnover was increasing, and profits were declining in specific locations. His corporate team presented an optimistic view, yet there was an unsettling feeling in the air. He sought the truth, genuine and unfiltered. Determined to uncover the truth, Aaron resolved to witness the situation firsthand. With the skill of a professional makeup artist, he morphed into an inconspicuous middle-aged gentleman, complete with glasses, a salt and pepper beard, and a subtle limp. Clad in a modest polo and khakis, he appeared far from the impeccably attired CEO he truly was. He had never encountered the majority of his store employees face-to-face, and his disguise enveloped him in a shroud of anonymity. He selected a store from the chain that was performing moderately, situated in a suburban strip mall. Disguised as a trainee called Mark, he entered the office early on a rainy Tuesday morning, prepared to observe the team throughout the day. The manager, a sharp and efficient woman named Trina, hardly looked his way as she passed him a name tag. "Keep your distance and avoid causing any trouble," she whispered, already striding away. Aaron adhered to her instructions, silently taking in the workings of the store. The initial hours passed without incident. He observed a few employees diligently restocking shelves, while others seemed to be idly scrolling on their phones. Trina appeared more intent on issuing commands than offering assistance to anyone. Yet, in that moment he was suddenly halted. At the checkout area, a young cashier named Emma was discreetly wiping her eyes, clearly making an effort to conceal her tears. She appeared to be in her early 20s, her hands quivering slightly as she checked items for a customer who seemed hardly to notice her presence. Aaron felt a knot in his stomach. What might have driven her to reach this moment? He observed Trina approach with a fierce intensity, her words slicing through the air like a blade. "Emma, what's taking so long? Pull it together, you're holding up the process." "I apologize," Emma stuttered, her voice trembling. "Apologies seem to be your constant refrain. Perhaps if you dedicated less time to weeping and more to your tasks, you wouldn't feel so inadequate," Trina retorted, her voice carrying to the patrons around them. Aaron's fists tightened, a wave of fury coursing through him. He felt the urge to step in, to take Emma aside and inquire about the situation, but he knew he couldn't risk revealing his true intentions just yet. Rather, he remained nearby, observing and attuning his ears. As the lunch hour unfolded, Aaron stumbled upon Emma in the break room, her head resting in her hands, lost in thought. He moved forward with careful deliberation. "Hey, are you doing all right?" he inquired softly, his tone subdued. Emma glanced upward, taken aback. "Oh, I'm fine," she replied hastily, managing a smile that failed to illuminate her eyes. "You don't seem well," Aaron remarked, taking a seat opposite her. Emma paused, letting out a soft sigh. "It's simply that Trina has been relentless for weeks. Nothing I do seems to meet her standards." And then, she faltered, her voice trembling. "What happens next?" Aaron urged gently, his voice tender. "My mom's in the hospital," Emma murmured. "She has been unwell for several months, and I have taken on additional shifts to assist with the bills. I'm feeling quite exhausted, yet Trina seems indifferent. She perceives me as simply being lazy." Aaron felt a constriction in his chest. He noticed the depth of Emma's struggle and the scant support surrounding her. Just as he was about to reply, Trina stormed into the break room. "Emma, the lunch break has concluded. It's time to return to your duties. And you," she remarked, casting a sharp look at Aaron, "shouldn't settle in too easily. You have been assigned to manage the stock." Aaron nodded, concealing his fury. He dedicated the remainder of the day to watching Trina's harsh management approach and the impact it had on the team. Staff kept their distance, the atmosphere was heavy, and clients appeared to pick up on the unease. As his shift drew to a close, Aaron felt drained, not only from the physical demands of the job, but also from the heavy emotional toll of the experiences he had encountered. He realized that remaining in the shadows was no longer a viable option. Changes were imperative and required immediate action. However, he needed to face the core issue at hand. The following morning, Aaron showed up ahead of schedule, long before the store was set to open. He had spent the night grappling with the images and sounds that lingered in his mind. Emma's fatigue, Trina's severity, and the pervasive strain in the store were more intense than he had anticipated. Today, he felt compelled to explore further, to determine whether this was merely an isolated incident or indicative of a more pervasive issue. As the staff filtered in, Aaron observed Emma coming in last, her shoulders drooping and dark circles shadowing her eyes. She greeted Trina with a soft good morning, yet Trina remained silent. Instead, she guided Emma to a quiet spot near the stockroom. Aaron subtly edged nearer, feigning an interest in adjusting a nearby display. "Emma, I'm not sure how much longer I can hold on to you if this is the level of effort I'm receiving," Trina hissed. "But I'm making an effort," Emma said, her voice trembling. "I simply don't require any excuses," Trina interjected. "If this is too much for you, perhaps it's time to consider a different path." Aaron's jaw clenched. He felt the urge to intervene, yet he understood that this single moment wasn't enough to validate his impending actions. He inhaled deeply and resolved to concentrate on the remaining members of the team for the time being. As the day unfolded, Aaron began to discern a recurring theme. A number of employees appeared disengaged, taking shortcuts or vanishing to the back for extended periods. Those who were truly dedicated, such as Emma and a young stock associate called Louis, carried the weight of the responsibilities. Aaron was particularly impressed by Louis. Even with his slight build, he managed to lift heavy boxes, guide customers to their desired items, and went above and beyond by staying after his break to lend a hand to a colleague. Aaron observed the young man diligently rearranging a disordered shelf and remarked, "Louis, you're meant to be on break." "I'll take it in a minute," Louis replied, shrugging nonchalantly. "If I don't address this immediately, Trina will definitely raise her voice at the next person on duty." Aaron frowned, thinking it would be better to spare them the hassle. "Is she always that loud?" Louis let out a quiet, sardonic chuckle. Every day it becomes familiar, yet Aaron remained silent. He was determined to prevent anyone from becoming accustomed to harmful behavior in his stores. By mid-afternoon, Aaron's irritation had peaked. Trina's management approach was not only harsh, but it was also detrimental to the team. She overlooked customers, scolded employees openly, and dedicated the majority of her time to the back office. At one moment, Aaron caught her on the phone, venting about unmotivated employees and children who lack a strong work ethic. The moment of truth arrived when an elderly woman, a customer, approached Emma with an inquiry regarding a return. Emma began to clarify the policy, yet the woman appeared perplexed. "Is there another person I can speak with?" the customer remarked, her tone cutting through the air. Emma's cheeks turned a deep shade of crimson, but just as she was about to say something, Trina swooped in. "What seems to be the issue here?" Trina inquired, her voice resonating to capture the attention of nearby shoppers. The client gestured towards Emma. "It appears she is uncertain about her actions." Trina averted her gaze from Emma entirely. "I'll take care of this," she said, guiding the customer aside. After the woman left, she redirected her attention to Emma. "Can you understand why I constantly bring this up?" she broke. "This store is being embarrassed by you." Emma's eyes fluttered, a visible struggle against the welling tears. Aaron reached his breaking point. "Trina," he said, moving closer, his tone steady yet resolute. "That will suffice." Trina faced him, her gaze sharpening. "Pardon me, who do you believe you are?" Aaron paused for just a moment, then committed to his choice. He lifted his glasses off, tugging at the sides of his artificial beard. "Aaron Keller," he stated, his voice unwavering. "This company is mine." A hush enveloped the room. Emma's eyes grew wide with disbelief, while Louis halted abruptly, clutching a box of cereal in his grasp. Trina's complexion shifted from a ghostly white to a deep crimson. "You're the one in charge," she stammered. Indeed, Aaron responded, and I've dedicated the past 2 days observing the way you manage this store. It's time for a conversation. At that moment, Trina parted her lips, ready to dispute, but Aaron raised a hand to silence her. Not present, workplace. At this moment, without pausing for her reply, he pivoted and made his way to the rear. Trina trailed behind, her gaze cast downward. Aaron shut the door behind him in the office and leaned back against the desk, his arms folded across his chest. Trina, I've observed enough to understand that this store is facing challenges, he began. Your treatment of the team is simply not acceptable. You're not handling your bullying effectively. I'm simply aiming for outcomes. Trina replied with a hint of defensiveness. This team lacks motivation, and without my encouragement, progress is stalled. Aaron gave a slight shake of his head. What we're witnessing isn't true leadership. It's merely fear, and it's proving ineffective. Your top performers are feeling overwhelmed, while others have disengaged. Are you aware of the extent of the harm you're causing? Trina averted her gaze, her jaw clenching in tension. She remained silent. Aaron went on to present a choice. You have the option to take an immediate leave of absence or to resign, but remaining in this situation is not feasible. Trina's shoulders drooped. Very well, I will step down, Aaron acknowledged. I will ensure that you receive your payment until the end of the month, but I must ask you to depart today. In silence, Trina snatched her bag and exited the office. Aaron inhaled deeply, then retreated back into the store. The staff huddled close to the registers, exchanging hushed words with one another. Aaron raised his voice, seeking the group's attention. Everyone, may I have your attention? The room hushed, every gaze fixed upon him. Initially, I must express my regret for not intervening earlier, he stated. The observations I've made in the past 2 days do not align with the vision I have for the company I wish to lead. I take full responsibility for that, and I will make it right. He glanced at Emma and Louis. Emma, Louis, your efforts have truly surpassed expectations, even in challenging times. Beginning today, Emma, I'm granting you paid time off to concentrate on your mom. And Louis, you're being promoted to assistant manager. Louis's eyes widened in surprise. Are you for real? Indeed, Aaron replied, a faint smile gracing his lips. You truly deserve it. The store burst into applause, and for the first time, Aaron sensed a flicker of hope. Yet, there remained much to accomplish, and he was determined to persevere until he set things right. The next morning, Aaron showed up at the store without any prior notice. This time, there was no mask to hide behind. He entered the room embodying the essence of a resolute leader, poised to initiate a transformation. The team, still reeling from the events of the day before, stood motionless at the sight of him. Emma appeared particularly uncertain, gripping her clipboard as though it could offer her protection. Louis, in contrast, offered a subtle nod, his face revealing a blend of appreciation and anxiety. Good morning, everyone, Aaron stated, his voice steady yet determined. A team meeting is scheduled to explore our next steps. Kindly assemble in the break room in 5 minutes. The workers shared furtive looks, whispering quietly to one another, yet they moved slowly toward the rear. Aaron held off until all were settled before he started. The past few days have certainly been overwhelming. I appreciate your patience and your unwavering presence in the face of challenges. He expressed a desire for honesty, meeting the gaze of each individual present. This location is not as it ought to be. That responsibility doesn't rest solely with you. I take responsibility for that as well. I ought to have focused more intently. Emma shifted restlessly in her seat, and Aaron noticed the brief glimmer of uncertainty in her gaze. He understood that trust would be hard to earn, especially after everything they had experienced together. Aaron continued, stating that he wasn't there to assign blame or offer hollow assurances. I'm here to hear you out and mend what's been damaged. Let's begin with this. What improvements can enhance the store and your roles? For a brief instant, stillness enveloped the atmosphere. Then Louis spoke, his voice calm yet measured. Additional support is essential, he stated. Many of us find ourselves shouldering the responsibilities of multiple roles, and it can be incredibly draining. When someone like Emma is facing challenges, rather than offering support, we have been undermining one another. Emma's cheeks flushed with a rosy hue, yet she gave a subtle nod. Indeed, it is challenging to invest in your work when it seems like you're not valued by anyone. Aaron sensed the gravity of her words envelop the space. He glanced at the others. Is there anyone else who shares this feeling? One by one, hands began to rise. A woman in her middle years, named Carla, took her turn to speak. It's not merely a matter of being short on staff. There's been a hesitance to voice our concerns. Whenever we attempted to approach Trina with something, she would dismiss us or, even worse, complicate matters further, leading people to give up on trying. Aaron nodded thoughtfully, taking in their sincerity. I appreciate you sharing that. I understand your perspective. This cycle comes to a close today. We are poised to implement significant transformations without delay. He rose to his feet and retrieved a whiteboard from the corner of the room. This will be divided into 2 sections: immediate solutions and future objectives. Let's begin with the immediate future. What is the one thing that could simplify your daily routine at this moment? More staff, Lewis stated confidently. Improved training, Emma remarked. Many of us found ourselves in the role unexpectedly, unsure of how to navigate our responsibilities. Respect, Carla asserted with conviction. From leadership, from clients, from all parties involved. Aaron jotted down their responses before turning back to face them. All right, this is the plan moving forward. To begin with, we are bringing on 2 more team members to help ease the workload. I will collaborate with HR to ensure that gets posted by the end of the day. Next, we are enhancing our training programs to ensure that everyone feels assured in their positions. Additionally, I will be conducting weekly visits to this store to ensure that these changes are effectively implemented. The atmosphere in the room changed subtly, remaining wary yet infused with a hint of optimism. Aaron inquired about the long-term implications. What elements would contribute to making this store a workplace you take pride in? Lewis mentioned the potential for growth. I appreciate the promotion you offered me. Such elements inspire individuals. Increased compensation, Carla remarked. It's challenging to maintain dedication when you're just scraping by. Aaron nodded once more. Both are valid observations. I will assess our compensation framework and explore potential modifications. In terms of growth opportunities, I will be establishing a mentorship program aimed at supporting those who aspire to advance within the company. Emma lifted her hand with a touch of uncertainty. What about acknowledgement? It often seems that when we achieve something positive, the focus shifts to our mistakes instead. Aaron beamed with delight. Indeed, you are correct, Emma. Beginning today, we are launching a program to acknowledge and celebrate achievements. Each month, we will showcase an employee who has truly excelled, with tangible rewards associated with their outstanding efforts. The atmosphere in the room shifted, the weight of tension giving way to a sense of tentative hope. However, he still had more to accomplish. Aaron stated with a firm voice, I also want to clarify something. Respect is essential and cannot be compromised. If any manager or team member shows you disrespect, please inform me right away. We will no longer accept bullying or toxic behavior in any form. Do you comprehend that? A soft chorus of assent flowed through the space. Excellent, Aaron remarked. It's time to dive into our tasks. Lewis, I would appreciate your assistance in creating a training plan. Carla, could you compile a list of the most pressing tasks that require additional assistance? Emma, I would appreciate the opportunity to meet with you after your shift to explore ways we can enhance our support for you. The staff nodded, their expressions a blend of resolve and solace. As they exited the break room, Aaron experienced a subtle yet meaningful sense of achievement. This marked the initial step, yet it was a beginning. In the hours that followed, Aaron collaborated closely with the team, filling shelves, helping customers, and taking note of the store's operations. He witnessed the obstacles they encountered and the promise they held. As the day drew to a close, the atmosphere of the store had transformed. It may not have been flawless, yet it carried a sense of lightness and optimism. As Aaron secured the doors for the evening, he was acutely aware that a challenging journey lay before him. For the first time in ages, he sensed a newfound assurance that they were heading in the right direction. The following morning, Aaron found himself in his office, meticulously going over the modifications he had vowed to carry out. His phone vibrated, signaling an email from HR that the job postings for 2 new team members were now active. He reclined in his chair, a sense of relief washing over him as he recognized that progress was finally being made. Yet, his mind continually returned to Emma. She had consented to rendezvous with him that morning on her day off. Aaron had invited her over for a private conversation regarding her circumstances and how the company might enhance its support for her. It wasn't merely about repairing the store. It was about ensuring that individuals like Emma weren't overlooked. At exactly 10 a.m., a gentle knock echoed at the door. "Come in," Aaron called. Emma entered, her bag held tightly in her grasp, a hint of anxiety in her demeanor. She appeared more refreshed than when Aaron had last encountered her, yet a certain wariness lingered in her gaze. "Greetings, Mr. Keller," she spoke softly. "Please call me Aaron," he said, motioning for her to sit down. Emma settled into her chair, her body rigid. Aaron observed her scanning the office, clearly feeling out of place. Aaron expressed his pleasure at the arrival, maintaining a cheerful tone. "I'm here to have a conversation and learn more about how we can assist you, with no pressure at all." Emma nodded, her silence lingering in the air. Aaron lingered, holding back the impulse to break the quietude. At last, she found her voice. I don't quite know how to begin," she confessed. "I suppose I never really believed that anyone was concerned. Not after what happened with Trina." Aaron inclined his body forward just a touch. "I see where you're coming from, and I acknowledge my role in not intervening earlier, but I'm committed to making a difference moving forward. It's essential to arrive at work feeling backed and valued." Emma paused for a moment, gathering her thoughts before inhaling deeply. "The journey has been challenging. My mother has been frequently hospitalized for several months now. She means everything to me, so I've been working hard to manage her medical expenses. That's why I've been picking up additional shifts, but it's been quite a lot to handle." Aaron felt a constriction in his chest. He noticed the burden Emma was shouldering, and a sharp twinge of remorse struck him for the way the company had let her down until this point. Aaron expressed his gratitude, saying, "Thank you for sharing that. To begin with, I want to assure you that we will take care of your mom's medical expenses for the next 3 months. That should provide you with a bit of space to think." Emma's eyes grew large with surprise. "Excuse me, could you clarify that? Is this for real?" Aaron spoke with a hint of a smile, his tone utterly earnest. "You've put in so much effort, and now it's our turn to support you." Emma's lip quivered, and she hurriedly brushed away the tears from her eyes. "I'm at a loss for words. Thanks a lot. I truly appreciate it." Aaron went on to elaborate. "I would like to invite you to join our new mentorship program. Emma, you have great potential, and I would love to support your journey towards a leadership role if that's something you aspire to." Emma blinked, utterly astonished. "Who, me? Is it a position of leadership? Why not indeed?" Aaron inquired. "Your resilience and dedication have already been evident, especially with the right support in place. You have the potential to flourish." Emma let out a nervous chuckle. "I find myself at a loss for words. I've never heard anyone express something like that to me before." "Well, embrace it," Aaron said with a friendly tone. For the next 20 minutes, they engaged in a thoughtful dialogue about her schedule, her aspirations for the future, and ways the company could enhance its support for her requirements. By the end of the meeting, Emma appeared more at ease, as though a burden had been removed from her shoulders. As she departed from the office, Aaron experienced a revitalized sense of direction. Yet, there remained one final matter he had to tackle. That afternoon, he made his way back to the store for yet another unexpected visit. This time, the ambience felt distinctly altered. Workers displayed heightened enthusiasm, and clients appeared to be more relaxed. Lewis confidently embraced his new role as assistant manager, guiding a flustered cashier through the intricacies of a complicated return. "Louis," Aaron called as he drew near. Louis glanced upward, a mix of surprise and delight crossing his face. "Hello, Mr. Keller. Is everything all right?" "Better than just fine," Aaron remarked. "I wanted to touch base and find out how everything is progressing," Louis nodded. "It has been quite pleasant. The team is adapting remarkably to the new changes. I believe the recognition program concept is truly inspiring individuals. Carla is already discussing the possibility of nominating one of the newer team members for next month." Aaron expressed his enthusiasm, saying, "That's wonderful to hear. Let me know if there are any other areas where we can enhance our efforts." While they conversed, Aaron caught sight of Carla assisting a customer at the rear of the store. She exhibited a calm demeanor and keen focus, dedicating her time to clarify the distinctions between the two products. Once the customer had departed, Aaron made his way over to her. "Carla, may I speak with you for a moment?" Carla adjusted her posture, a hint of anxiety flickering across her face. "Absolutely, Mr. Keller." Aaron expressed his gratitude, saying, "I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done here. Your steadfast support for this team has truly made an impact and has not gone unrecognized." Carla's gaze became gentle. "Thanks a lot. That holds significant value. As a token of my gratitude, I would like to offer you a bonus for your dedicated efforts. If you're open to it, I would love to talk about the possibility of transitioning you into a training coordinator position. Your ability to connect with others is truly remarkable, and I believe you would excel in this role." Carla's jaw fell open in disbelief. "Is this for real? I've never even considered anything like that." "Consider it," Aaron remarked with a grin. "We'll work out the specifics, but I believe it would suit you perfectly." As the day drew to a close, Aaron's confidence soared, convinced that the store was heading in the right direction. The alterations were already yielding positive results, and the team spirit was gradually on the rise. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Aaron lingered outside the store, observing the employees within as they collaborated with an unprecedented harmony. It wasn't flawless just yet, but progress was being made. He understood that he couldn't resolve everything in an instant, yet for the first time in ages, he sensed the essence of true leadership within himself once more. In that moment, he understood it was what set everything apart.